Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, it is indeed a great day today.
At the end of 2010, when we had taken the decision, we shall make a decision for 2 World Cups. We shall make the decision for the 2018 and for the 2022.
Well, during this bidding process, there were 5 or 6 candidates. Among them were Russia and were Qatar. Because it was a double awarding, you know. In those days, for the first time, they did award in 1 year for 2 periods, also 2 World Cups. It was 2018 and 2022.
I can't remember the hall. It was down in the city of Zurich. We were staying at the battleground, which is a little bit up, so we were driving down. Everybody's frantic, everybody's wondering what's going on, any piece of information that we can get. And then I heard through the grapevine that it was between us and the US. Everybody else got eliminated, and it was between us and the US. And at that moment, really, I felt, you know, nobody had ever won the bid the first time for bidding. So I didn't expect us to win.
All these emotions around the world, as you have witnessed now, for the big job they have done and for the messages they have delivered. They have all delivered
I was sitting in a place where Sepp Blatter was to my right on stage. I couldn't see him, but the screen was on my left. There was a big screen on top. And so the camera zooms in right on the screen, right on the envelope. He opens up the envelope and he picks out the card. When he picked out the card, I was expecting United States of America. So the card is like this. I'm expecting the U to start at the beginning of the card because it's a very long name. And yet all I can see is white.
The winner to organize the 2022 FIFA World Cup is Qatar.
You know, this was a big shock. To have the tournament going to the Middle East was a big shock for the global north.
Is Qatar. Is Qatar. Is Qatar. Is Qatar.
I had to congratulate them that they have won. That was public. But if you see my face when I opened the envelope, I was not a very happy man.
But it was totally crazy to go to one of the smallest countries in the world to build 8 stadia, brand new stadia, which were never used again. And that Qatar was ahead of United States, for example. This was crazy.
The Americans, we have lost the World Cup 2022. Against whom we have lost the World Cup? Against whom? Goa? This small island?
There was a roar in my head. I was in my own world. So I wasn't noticing that people weren't clapping. I wasn't noticing that people weren't happy.
There are a lot of people who underestimated Qatar and underestimated the symbolism of Qatar hosting the World Cup. And so therefore, as soon as that decision was announced, there was an enormous media storm about how that decision came to be made.
In relation to when the campaign started the 2nd of December 2010, that's when it started. And ended up from the 3rd of December and picking up.
How does a World Cup end up being held in Qatar?
How Qatar
hacked the World Cup.
Qatar tried to buy influence over its policy decisions.
But the bidding process for the global event was entrenched in corruption, according to the Sunday Times.
You are hosting the World Cup somewhere where soccer cannot physically be played.
5,200 is the number of workers expected to die.
It's so hot in Qatar at that time of the year.
Thousands of workers died building this World Cup.
Qatar is facing growing criticism over the LGBTQ plus community.
I don't like the whole idea it's gone Qatar. I think it's a morally reprehensible decision.
I found this, a good case of double standards.
The Football World Cup is the biggest event on earth. It is the most attractive event. You know, FIFA probably still is the strongest soft power on earth. FIFA has an unbelievable power. If you see what people do to get the World Cup, it's unbelievable.
And the winner is Deutschland. In South Africa, Brazil, in Russia.
That's soft power. And the British do it, the French do it, the Americans do it, but now also the Qataris do it too.
Thank you. The winner, 222, Qatar.
I think for many people, particularly in the global north, Qatar, the awarding of 2022 to Qatar was just a step too far, and it became that tipping point. And so immediately what we got is an outcry, and then subsequently what we had is an investigation looking at just exactly who was close to the bid and what did they receive from influencing the bid.
It's still a mystery how a tiny but wealthy nation with little football history could win the biggest prize of all.
So I think there's always been a big question mark over why did it go to Qatar?
We're asking tonight, is Qatar worker abuse, homophobia, sexism, racism, and as if that weren't enough, corruption?
Corruption at the heart of world football.
مباشرة تم اتهام قطر بموضوع الفساد. وأنها قدمت رشاوي للفيفا وللجان المعنية.
The British newspaper is now alleging it has evidence beyond doubt that proves Qatar bribed its way to winning the right to stage the tournament in 2022.
That's why the only answer is to have a complete rerun.
Justice explicitly accused Qatar of bribing FIFA officials to secure hosting right.
So Qatar has been accused of essentially buying its way to ultimately being awarded the right to host the 2022 World Cup. There are stories, lots of stories, allegations. People have even written books about payments that were at best immoral, but possibly even illegal.
That was the first time the attacks happened and the campaign happened. People just didn't look at our campaign. They never thought that we had a chance to win. All these people that thought we didn't have a chance to win and were incredulous about us winning, they were never present during the bidding process.
24 executive committee members are appointed by worldwide football confederations and associations, and the awarding of World Cups is determined by them.
At the time, it was a secret vote. The vote was only taken by 24 and ultimately 22 men. No one actually knew who voted for what. And there was also, at the time, 2 World Cups up for voting at the same time, 2018 and 2022. So an obvious strategy was to decide which year you were actually going for and then swap votes with someone who was going for the other year.
At the time, there's a hidden process which is all about lobbying and influencing and communicating and marketing. There is an industrial infrastructure around bidding and trying to ensure that your bid is the bid that is seen most favourably.
During the years 1990 plus, 2000 and so on, the members of the executive committee, many of them, not all, I have to say not all, they believe that they have the right to make side money by blackmailing applicants for candidates for World Cups and so on and so forth. So a lot of money was changing their hands.
The FIFA whistleblower made claims of corruption about Qatar's winning World Cup bid.
A whistleblower has alleged 3 members were offered cash for votes by Qatar.
There was even a bribery scandal that included the head of the African Football Confederation.
There was a former employee of the Qatar bid who has made allegations consistently about Qatar offering and giving money to 4 individuals from Africa.
This is the whistleblower who never wanted you to know her name. Phaedra Al-Majid used to work for the Qatar 2022 World Cup bid.
Phaedra Al-Majid, a whistleblower who knows the scandal from the inside, told me that FIFA's culture of bribery created the conditions.
I witnessed basically $1.5 million being offered to 3 EXCO members in exchange for them to vote for the Qatar 2022.
So, I guess taking the view that there's no smoke without fire, we have to accept that, and I think the Qataris have to accept that, and ultimately, as we know what has happened inside FIFA, that there was something untoward happening.
FIFA appointed American lawyer Michael Garcia to investigate. He pointed to what he called serious and wide-ranging issues with the bidding and selection process.
No limitations at all on what we will be looking at. That will be determined solely by what we perceive at firsthand the investigative chamber and in launching these as evidence or suggestions or reason to look further.
To be clear, Michael Garcia was investigating the entire bidding process. So he was investigating everybody. It was not specifically on Qatar. It was 2018 and 2022. All bids to find who did what. Our file was maybe the thickest because there was accusations coming from left, right, and center. So he had to investigate every accusation.
The chairman of the investigatory chamber, Michael Garcia, and the chairman of the adjudicatory chamber, Hans-Joachim Eckert, they informed the executive committee that the report has been submitted by the chairman of the investigatory chamber.
And to that extent, he came back with the simple conclusion, like everybody else, that we had done nothing wrong. There was nothing conclusive that we had done, or the way he put it, there was nothing conclusive that we had done, anything wrong.
Qatar has been cleared to host the World Cup in 2022. In the last half an hour, FIFA has published a report around the bidding process, which has cleared the country of corruption allegations.
The head of an independent investigation into alleged World Cup corruption says FIFA's summary of his report is flat out wrong.
You obviously made all these allegations, the most damaging ones being the fact or the claim that the 2 FIFA members were paid $1.5 million.
That it's a total lie and that I fabricated the whole story.
His overall conclusion was the bidding process was not clear in certain areas. The rules and regulations were not clear. Every bid, let's put a very clear line under every bid, one way or the other, had breached the bidding process.
People didn't want to hear that. They didn't want to hear the bigger story, that this wasn't about Qatar was naughty and did the wrong thing. The bigger story was this was the way that FIFA set countries up to win this World Cup.
Bombshell in the world of soccer.
Some of the sports top executives were arrested this morning at a hotel in Zurich, Switzerland.
Breaking news, major corruption crackdown going down right now. Arrests made around the world. This is seen just moments ago in Miami.
It was all in connection with a string of raids involving the FIFA bribery scandal.
The president of FIFA is a man named Sepp Blatter. Now, he is a powerful but highly controversial figure who is now under even more suspicion.
Today, the most powerful man in soccer walked away. Sepp Blatter resigned as head of the world governing body.
Just days after winning a 5th term as FIFA president, Sepp Blatter has shocked the world of football by announcing he will step down.
A lot of the issues that had been there for many, many years, they came spewing out. I'll use that word, spewing out, as a result of Qatar.
Qatar said we had to play the rules of FIFA. And the rules of FIFA were you don't get anything for free. It is funny that Germany today, it is now 25 years after the event, the justice system in Germany is still accusing some people of irregularities regarding the bid of 2000 for 2006. The Germans always try to hide what they did, and they're still hiding until today.
I think if you were to actually delve deeply into many World Cups across history, the kind of allegations that Qatar had to confront, many of those issues were probably, in my opinion, likely to have been there around other tournaments as well.
Well, FIFA has accused South Africa of bribing 3 of its former officials for the right to host the 2010 Soccer World Cup.
Former FIFA Vice President Jack Warner, who faces U.S. bribery charges, says he's ready to reveal everything he knows.
The UK Press Association says it's obtained evidence proving FIFA Secretary-General Jérôme Valk was aware of a $10 million payment to former Vice President Jack Warner.
Facilitate the acceptance of a bribe in conjunction with the selection of the host nation for the 1998 World Cup, which was held in France.
He had taken bribes from bidders seeking to host the 1998 and the 2010 World Cups.
But the revelations will confirm that bribery has long been the lubricant that made the wheels of FIFA turn.
Exactly. It was the culture of FIFA. It was the culture of FIFA, and nobody ever acted against it.
On the one hand, the 2022 World Cup in Qatar is a tale of state-of-the-art installations. Brand new stadiums, roads, hotels, and other infrastructure have been popping up like mushrooms in the Gulf country. But on the other, there's a dire human cost for the tens of thousands of migrant workers behind those modern facilities.
And then we faced, I think it was in 2015, an even more ferocious campaign, which was on worker welfare and labor rights.
Gulf nation is hosting the FIFA World Cup, even as human rights groups document the colossal loss of life among migrant laborers working on the country's massive construction program.
And most of them are going to Qatar. It's with these mass ranks of cheap laborers for the World Cup in Qatar.
My name is Steve Coburn. I'm the head of Labour Rights and Sport at Amnesty International. Certainly our work at Amnesty focused most of all on documenting the abuses faced by migrant workers in Qatar. And we did research over a decade and found that, I mean, literally hundreds of thousands of workers were associated in building the infrastructure necessary for the World Cup in Qatar.
I'm the General Secretary of BWI. My role is to really represent these workers, to have an international voice. At 2014, we launched a campaign, No World Cup in Qatar Without Workers' Rights. We started this campaign, it became global.
There were tens of thousands of cases every year of wage theft, of companies not paying the salaries, of excessive hours. And of course, we also saw many cases of injuries and even deaths because of unsafe working conditions and especially working in the extreme heat.
And to tell you, we have seen we have seen problems. We have seen unfair, unsafe working condition. We have seen accommodation that which is unsafe, which is food are bad. We have seen this.
So it was very well known at the time that Qatar, like other countries in the region, has a exploitative labour system called the kafala system, which means migrant workers are often behest to their employers and vulnerable to abuse.
To be very clear, the conditions at a certain point in time were horrible. I won't lie to you. Nobody can deny the fact that they were horrible. People were living in very, very bad conditions. And they needed to change.
In 2016, we signed a memorandum of understanding. The agreement is about health and safety inspection, improvement of workers' welfare, and workers' representation.
In 2017, there was quite a seismic shift in what happened. Qatar agreed a series of reforms with the International Labour Organization.
We brought on board trade unions who partnered with us, the Builders and Woodworkers International. We brought on board, we created a very clear, robust auditing system, which included also a third-party auditor, Impact, which is an internationally recognized auditor.
They engage us. They talk to us. So we told them there should be the issues of workers' rights must be addressed.
We had worker welfare forums where workers were able to vote in their representatives and raise any concern that they had without any fear of retaliation from their employers.
We also work on the working hours. During summer, we have to change the working hours. We try to avoid the time from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock when the heat is so strong.
We developed cooling suits, stay cool, that were able to reduce the temperature up to 7 degrees, if not more.
So the kafala system was not abolished, but dismantled, so one doesn't need approval anymore when one wants to leave the country or when one wants to switch jobs.
This was all done because we needed to do it, and we wanted to do it, and it was our duty to do it. The duty which our values that are based on our culture and our religion, impose on us.
This has been the complaint of the Qataris when we talk, So they said, Ambet, we are doing something good. We do inspection together. You propose changes, we respond to that. But it's not in the news.
But there have been numerous stories about the largely South Asian workforce being mistreated.
Foreign construction workers here gathering in front of their employers' headquarters because they haven't been paid in 7 months.
How can we ignore it? People have died building the stadiums.
Well, the media criticized the labor problems they had, and the problem of human rights and so on and so forth. So nobody complained. So there are very few people complain if sports goes to China or if sports go to Russia, but they like to beat Qatar.
It's extremely hot, extremely dusty. They've been working here for 3 or 4 months now, and it doesn't feel like a place where you'd want to play football at all. There's a sandstorm blowing around us.
And in fact, when they did more investigations, they found that in 1 year, 1,200 migrant workers from India and Nepal had died alone.
You could read in The Guardian already then how many people will die in the construction of the stadium. It was absolutely crazy.
A report in the Guardian newspaper startled the company. It stated that more than 6,500 guest workers have died since the cup was awarded to Qatar.
And this was a big figure which were always repeated and repeated and repeated.
6,500 people died building those stadiums.
6,500 migrant workers from all over the subcontinent have died.
So Qatar couldn't do anything, basically. Once people start to hit you, you cannot do anything.
More than 6,500 migrant workers from India, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka have died in Qatar.
From 2010 to 20, something like 6,500 workers died in Qatar.
I and a team of journalists began to investigate how many workers were actually dying. We use government sources, for example, embassies and also government departments in the countries of origins of these workers. And we established that well over 6,500 workers had died between the time Qatar was awarded the World Cup in 2010 for the next 10 years, roughly up to 2020.
Where did you source the figures, the total number of 6,500?
So the total number of deaths was sourced from government sources. Most of them were the embassies in Doha, and some of the sources were the governments, like government departments in the countries of origin. There's no question about the figures. In fact, the Qatari authorities confirmed those figures to me.
وعندما يتحدثون عن حالات وفيات في دولة قطر بهذا الرقم، للأسف لا يميزون أن من يتوفى في الشارع أو من يتوفى في حادث السيارة أو من يتوفى وفاة طبيعية أو من يتوفى في الملاعب. صحيح أن هذا العامل، لكن تصنيف حالات الوفاة لا يتم.
It's not possible to say exactly which work each worker was doing, what was the precise cause of each death, because the Qataris don't collect that data. That data is not available. Some data is available, but not the complete picture of the data that's available.
In fact, that statistic was completely wrong. It was not like those deaths were not excess deaths. They were just South Asians who had happened to die in Qatar from this time period. But that's how it was portrayed in the Guardian article. And this just was picked up in social media and spun out in lots of different ways because there was a kind of confirmation bias in the West that, this idea that these rich Qatari sheikhs, they just oppress their people.
We reported on all incidents that happened. Unfortunately, yes, we did have some deaths up until the last day of the tournament. And we investigated these deaths. At one point in time, we even brought a QC to look at our investigation process and did we do everything right or not and what issues can we improve on.
As the one who conducted inspection from 2017 to 2020, we have recorded 3 deaths in the construction of the stadium. Plus, we also take a note that there are 36 other workers working in the stadium but died in the accommodation area, not on the site.
As they claim that 6,500 people died, laborers died. The actual story would come, the initial story would come out on front page, spread like wildfire. And then when they correct it, the correction would come second page and a small little asterisk down as a footnote when the damage is already done.
FIFA was wrong in giving it to them, but more importantly, 6,500 people died in the building of the stadiums for this very tournament. So sorry, Socceroos fans, I couldn't care less. We should be boycotting this tournament.
Those who built these towering monoliths could never afford to live in one. A Kenyan worker is taking us to visit. He agrees to talk on the condition that he remains anonymous.
My name is Nimrod Kariuki Njeru. I'm Kenyan. I came to Qatar. I worked as a security guard for 2 years. I saw there were some people who were posting the situation about Qatar, and so I started following their accounts. I got to know so many journalists. I got to know a group from RTS from Switzerland, from Denmark, France 24, from Netherlands. So for me, I was only facilitating for the worker to be comfortable to be able to communicate to the journalist. So some of their stories, they were biased because they really wanted just to criticize the Qatar and criticize the World Cup. Yeah. The journalist, when they interviewed me, and from the interviews of the workers that I helped them to interview, I will see that there was a form of biasness. They will really make the articles at some point very critical, like it was in a situation of life and death. And they will alter some words, because one thing about the articles, they would write the articles, then they would actually publish the articles without even consenting the one they were interviewing.
Did they change your words?
Yes, they changed my words on some articles and also on the video. For the example is that when they interviewed me about the accommodation, and they interviewed me in my accommodation, and what actually happened is they went out and they took the worst pictures which were on the accommodation opposite, and they put this one in the film, which was not really showing my accommodation, because this was just adjacent to the film. They put it together like the accommodation was really, really bad.
We were allowed full access to inspect the World Cup construction in Qatar. Unfortunately, we did not have the same full access in the Paris Olympics. No?
Paris 24, Los Angeles 28.
The International Olympic Committee has formally announced Paris and Los Angeles as hosts of the 2024 and 2028 Summer Games, respectively.
Welcome to a special edition we're calling Paris in 2024, as the French capital gets set to host the Olympics for the first time in exactly 100 years.
Je m'appelle Rosa Moussaoui, je suis journaliste à l'Humanité, où je m'occupe du pôle enquête et investigation. Et l'Humanité, c'est un journal qui s'intéresse beaucoup à la question sociale. Ces chantiers des JO, en fait, il y a un maître d'œuvre de tous les chantiers olympiques et qui a donné, en fait, qui a attribué des lots à des majors du bâtiment chargés chacune de réaliser le village olympique, le village des médias, les différentes infrastructures sportives. Et en fait, ces majors du bâtiment, elles ont elles-mêmes eu recours à un certain nombre de sous-traitants qui eux-mêmes avaient recours encore à des sous-traitants. Et on s'est retrouvé avec des systèmes de sous-traitance en cascade avec en bout de course, des structures plus ou moins fantômes, plus ou moins mafieuses, qui avaient recours à une main-d'œuvre extrêmement vulnérable pour pouvoir réaliser ces chantiers dans les temps impartis. Et cette main-d'œuvre vulnérable, elle était constituée pour une part de travailleurs migrants, c'est-à-dire de travailleurs qu'on paye au lance-pierre extrêmement mal, et des travailleurs aussi qui sont sans droit en fait et qui n'ont pas de moyens de faire valoir les droits sociaux auxquels ils devraient pouvoir prétendre.
Je suis M. Moussa, je suis un sans-papier, j'ai été en 2019 en France et je travaille avec la boîte Mutuelle Aventure. Donc, c'est sans papier. Jusqu'à maintenant, je continue de travailler avec la même boîte. Donc, je travaille dans la sous-traitance.
Et le patron, il était honnête avec toi, ce temps-là, où il a profité que toi, tu es sans papier un peu?
Oui, il profite avec moi et sans papier parce qu'au début, il ne paye pas très bien. Par jour, 55 €. 55 €. 15 € par jour. J'ai commencé par ça. Après, en 2021, je l'ai demandé pour ajuster le salaire. Il a rajouté 10 €. Ça fait 65 €. Et après, je l'ai demandé pour rajouter aussi. Il a dit non, il ne peut pas rajouter.
Et puis, ce sont aussi des travailleurs qui sont plus exposés aux risques liés à la sécurité sur les chantiers. Pour certains d'entre eux avec qui j'avais pu m'entretenir pour les enquêtes que j'ai conduites sur le sujet, ils étaient par exemple obligés de s'acheter eux-mêmes des chaussures de sécurité ou du matériel les protégeant sur le chantier et au travail. Et ce sont évidemment des travailleurs qui sont plus exposés aux risques de blessures et à des problèmes de sécurité sur les chantiers, qui se posent aussi pour l'ensemble des travailleurs en fait. En France, chaque année, 661 personnes meurent au travail, officiellement, probablement davantage. Et beaucoup de ces personnes qui meurent au travail sont des gens qui travaillent dans le secteur de la construction. On peut parler aussi des blessés qui sont extrêmement nombreux.
Of course, they said, no, we are okay here. Our laws are great. Our health and safety standard is high, and we don't, mistreat migrant workers. No? So we continue to engage, and we conducted 4 inspections, limited inspection. And we have seen a lot of health and safety violations. In some cases, it's worse than what we have seen in Qatar. So in France, we have received some reports on the media, but it's not widely covered by the media. It's not also happening. I remember in Tokyo, there were violations in Tokyo. We visited the sites, and it was not covered as well. And then you have Qatar, that has really been the focus now.
Hosting a mega event, you become a carcass upon which different interests feast. And what we do know is that, for those of the global north, there were some who couldn't countenance the thought of Qatar hosting the tournament.
The World Cup hosts back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
This really is the World Cup of fraud.
Qatar had never qualified for a World Cup, had no real footballing history, and had no suitable stadiums. They haven't got the skills to do it.
Were there people, were there groups, were there organisations orchestrating anti-Qatari, anti-Arab, anti-Muslim sentiment? Yes, absolutely, there were.
There are renewed doubts about the suitability of the Arab state to host the tournament.
It's human rights.
Human rights.
Women's rights. Corruption.
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 By influence.
Corruption.
Biggest corruption.
50 degrees Celsius.
Corruption.
Human rights group. Corruption.
Corruption. Corruption.
Corruption. Human rights.
By the time we got to the World Cup, we were ready.
It's just a year until the Football World Cup kicks off in Qatar. Allegations of vote buying and human rights abuses have marred the run-up to the competition. Some fans are even threatening a boycott, but Qatar says it deserves to host the Cup.
الهجوم على قطر لم يتوقف منذ لحظة إعلان فوز قطر إلى لحظة انطلاقة صافرة حكم المباراة الأولى لافتتاح بطولة كأس العالم. قس على ذلك أن مثل هذه الأمور استمرت إلى أن قبل يعني بدء هذه البطولة موضوع مثلا موضوع المثليين، قضية المثليين التي أيضا وضعت من ضمن الأهداف للإساءة ومحاولة سحب البطولة من دولة قطر.
Some European teams had planned on wearing armbands in protest of Qatar's anti-LGBTQ laws.
Controversy has never been far away from this World Cup. Being gay is illegal there, and already there's been upset.
It is not safe for someone like me to watch the World Cup in Qatar.
Gay football fans are unable to acknowledge who they love. Shame on FIFA.
Homosexuality is banned in Qatar, and I think that's wrong. But Qatar is not the only country in the world. There are more than 70 countries where it's banned, but media articles often presented this in a way like Qatar would be the worst or the only country where homosexuality is banned.
Now, there was a lot of criticism around the treatment of LGBTI people in Russia. There was a lot of scrutiny, and also human rights defenders and the freedom of expression in Russia. I don't think it ever reached the same height in Qatar, realistically. And that could be because of the scale of the World Cup, the scale of the project.
Just need to Google LGBT Qatar and push them on social media.
We understand that people come from different backgrounds and have different values. But we ask that people respect our values, just like when we go to other people's countries and other people's homes, we respect their values. That's as simple as it is. No more, no less.
Everybody's welcome in Doha. We do not stop anybody from coming to Doha with any different backgrounds, any different belief. But also we expect and we want people to respect our culture.
كل الأساليب استخدمت مع قطر إلى أن يصل إلى نظرة فوقية واستعلائية أن هذه المنطقة في المجمل لا تستحق هذا الحدث.
Qatar is a strictly Muslim country. Many people living here don't have the same freedom as people living in the UK.
Qatari society and culture is based heavily on a strict interpretation of Islamic law and an ancient tribal system.
وأننا نحن بعيدين تماماً عن الحضارة وعن التقدم وعن الازدهار، بينما هم في الغرب هم أساس الحضارة، هم أساس التقدم، هم المنفتحون.
There are just days to go before the start of the World Cup in Qatar.
That's why it's most likely going to end.
There is a difference there. Qatari society
in Qatar, this means that they don't want to be involved in the World Cup this time around.
This moral lesson giving, one-sided, it's just hypocrisy. I think for what we Europeans have been doing in the last 3,000 years around the world, we should be apologizing for the next 3,000 years before starting to give moral lessons to people.
She used to talk on the phone with her younger brother every day, says Taslima.
I watched the opening match on German TV, although I was here in Qatar. And in the hour before the match, there was no pre-match reporting. There were somebody from Amnesty International, for example, in the studio sitting, and human rights in Qatar were discussed.
People came here during the World Cup, and in the lead up, they had a certain opinion. When they came, they experienced it, they came back and they spoke what they saw.
The World Cup in Qatar, I have to say, on the organizational point of view, it was well done. It was well done. It has shown that FIFA World Cup, you can play everywhere, even in December.
I believe it was one of the editors in the Times, I think it was the Sunday Times or the Times, that actually wrote saying that he sat next to an editor of a certain institution, news platform, that was told that the editorial was not to cover the positive sides of the World Cup. Either if there's no negative sides, then just cover the games, but don't cover the positive sides.
What I think we need to understand about the Qatar decision is it represented the confluence, the convergence of a whole bunch of issues. Yes, it was about governance in football, and it was about corruption inside FIFA. It was also about our changing world and the pivot from the global north to the global south. So the power isn't just in London and Washington. The power and control is in Riyadh and in Beijing and in Seoul and in Mumbai and elsewhere in the world. And so I've always felt that Qatar, to a certain extent, it's almost like the country was an innocent victim. It got itself caught in the crossfire of a profound change in our world, but also a profound change inside FIFA.
The good Europeans, because they think they are the best, they still think they are the best. The Europeans, then they should. Never we will go to play October, November in the World Cup. Never. But they did it. They did it, and they played. They didn't win because it was a South American who win the World Cup. But the reaction was terrible.
Messi lifted the World Cup in a black bisht.
Yeah.
What is that? It's a traditional men's cloak in the Arab world of Messi being draped in the bisht by the Emir of Qatar. Surprise. Did you find it bizarre, Simon?
Well, I have to say I didn't think it was.
Saudi Arabia have been all but confirmed as hosts for the 2034 Men's World Cup.
Anti-LGBT laws, women's rights and working conditions will cause concern in Saudi Arabia. But the country is championed by Gianni Infantino.